Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitchious Podcast. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously. Yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd. Oh, do we have a podcast for you today? Mikaal Bates is actually one of the few men that have come on the Ambitchious Podcast. And you know, when I have a man on this podcast, you know I mean business. And we love him. And I want to tell you a little bit about Mikaal as a whole, because you guys are going to be blown away by this conversation. Mikaal Bates is on a mission. Number one, to accelerate and steward the conscious evolution of men and masculinity across the planet in our lifetime. And number two, to heal the divide between men and women by resurrecting lost arts of sacred union. He accomplishes his mission as a life and relationship coach, workshop facilitator, podcast host, and psychedelic integration guide to individuals and organizations all over the world, helping guide humans of all persuasions into the deepest embodiment of their highest potential. His work leverages the technologies of masculine and feminine dynamics, embodied leadership principles, applied coaching methodologies, ritual theater, rites of passage, and various traditions of spiritual union. He also enjoys lifting heavy objects, swimming with sharks, playing with his niece, and curating obscure rituals for epic humans in remote corners of the world. Dude, this conversation was one of my favorite conversations that I've ever had on the podcast thus far. I have so many clients, and I've been doing this for a really long time, almost 25 years. And I have only heard women that are single say, there's no good men out there. They're just all assholes. And that's not true. And Mikaal is going to pull the veil from your eyes and expose you to the actual truth of what's truly happening between men and women right now and how we can work together to heal. You guys are going to love, love, love this podcast, and you're going to fall in love with Mikaal. And he has some incredible retreats and events coming up. Everything is in the show notes. And I really would love for you to follow him on Instagram. It's at Mikaal_Bates. And you spell his name a little bit different. So it's MIKAAL_BATES. Just check him out over on Instagram. He's doing such amazing stuff. And I know you're going to fall in love with him just as much as I did on this podcast. He is absolutely incredible. So I hope you enjoy this as much as I did. Without further ado, here's Mikaal Bates on the Ambitchious Podcast. Mikaal, I am literally over the fucking moon that you're here, because you're going to wake up so many of my female listeners. And we do have male listeners here as well. So I think you're going to also wake them the fuck up, because we have been totally sold a bill of goods on both sides of the fences, the men folk and the lady folk. And I just cannot wait for you to slap us with some beautiful truth. So thank you so much for taking time out of your crazy, busy, amazing schedule to be here. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much for having me. What an honor it is. And thank you to your listeners for just being into and about this work. I really believe it's the most important work that's happening on planet Earth right now.
I agree. 100%. Oh, I can't wait to get into it. Okay. So you say that you are here to accelerate and steward the conscious evolution of men and masculinity across the planet and in our lifetime. So that's a pretty big statement. But I already know you because we've had our own little side conversations. And, you know, before I always bring people on, I always want to make sure that they're a good fit. and they know that we're all crazy ladies here listening, and we're super open and honest and raw and real. And I was like, I just fell in love with you. You're speaking my language, and I just have so many clients that I have coached over the 20 plus years I've been in this industry who are, like you said before, they're waking up. They're like, damn, like we did all the things that we were told to do as women, right? We went out there, we worked on our career, we said no to children, we hate men, men are evil, they're bad, we don't need them. And now we're all like, holy shit, we're all single. We're sad. We have like 10 cats. And we still say that there's no good men out there. And you're here to say that that's absolutely not the truth.
I'm here to say I know it's not the truth, and I first want to say, sisters, I feel you. We've like Katie just so astutely said, we've all been sold this bill of goods, and my work is really about ending the battle of the sexes. And to the degree that men are losing, women are losing, and to the degree that women are losing, men are losing. And it's time to remember we are two sides of the same coin, members of the same species. And it's a very different party when we're not trying to win or defend ourselves from someone else, and actually learn from each other and learn how to be with each other and how to bring out the best in each other instead of the worst. And we really train to bring out the worst.
I know, it's crazy. I want to get into, before we really dive deep into like how this all came to be in your life, because obviously I know a little bit about your story from when we spoke before. But your story sounds very similar to my story, how I was raised by a second wave feminist. Like, you got to go out and you got to do all the things and fuck family and do everything on your own. And you don't need this, you don't need that. So I want to talk a little bit about that so that the women out there can really hear you from that side, because there's so many people in this space that are talking about like masculinity, and no one really knows their past story. So I think that your past story is so beautiful and so important.
Thank you, Katie. Yeah, I always try to lead with this. Like, I am so far from being anti-woman, it's not even funny. I love women. I appreciate what you sisters are doing in a way that I can't fully, because I'm not one of you and I will never be in your body. And so I'm just grateful for what you all do, and for the woman who raised me, who was absolutely like yours, a second wave feminist. And I grew up in that ideology. And I want to first name the benefits of it and what it brought in and how important it actually was as a movement. And what the questions that I ask now are, well, so the tenets, the goals of feminism that were put forward by these feminists have been achieved. Equal pay for equal work, which I know we negotiate, but when you look at all the different factors into play, it's actually pretty darn close. Women in the workforce and in leadership, educational attainment, control over your own bodies and fertility, freedom with the family. Those things have been achieved. And there's this really frustrating paradox, which is the paradox of female unhappiness. There's amazing studies on this. This isn't just me. In a way, I wish it was. I wish it was an anecdotal thing. And it's just that dick Mikaal Bates, talking shit about women. It's like, it's not. Like, female happiness has been statistically plummeting for decades now. And so again, what I like to talk about in my work are the unintended consequences of feminism. Again, there's a brilliance to every movement and there's a shadow to every movement, just like there's to every person. And I think we're really ripe and ready to start to examine these unintended consequences, because my mom, I love my fucking mom to death. She is an incredible woman and part of that generation that stood on the front line, burned their bras and said, it's bullshit that in 1970, I cannot apply for a credit card without my husband or my father's permission. Like, that's some bullshit. And, to that degree, I agree with feminism, but I really think, in the later stages, fourth wave and even now fifth wave, it's really, and we could get into the nuances of all that, but that's another show. That there's just, like you said, there are legions of us that are waking up to the realities of our life where we're alone, we're angry, we're pissed, we are childless, for better and for worse, because there's a pro and con to that too. There's freedom and all the things that come with the responsibility of having kids. But my goal is just to be a part of spreading the word and information, and then letting people choose. Like, if you want to be a boss babe, You want to be ambitious. You want to be all these things. Fuck yes, sister. Go and do that. Run your business, crush the world, make money, do all these things. And there's a talent and a skill to be able to as I teach with my men, as I led this cohort of 35 men yesterday through an initiation in Austin, the ability to become what the Vikings called two-handed, ambidextrous energetically. So being able to understand the value of masculine energy in any body and then feminine energy in any body. And again, these terms are sort of danger terms suddenly all of a sudden, but they're reference points to point to certain qualities of energy that appear generally in the population. There are exceptions to every rule. But I'll pause there because I feel like we're laying the groundwork here, and so
oh my God, yeah, and like as you're talking, every like fiber of my being is just like sparking up, and my hair is standing on end because I'm like, this is literally what this is like. You're literally talking to me, and like everything you say, I'm like, yes, like it's insane, like how much it's resonating with me because, like your mom, I had a similar mom. I think my mom's kind of feminine, like her being a feminist, I guess, was more from my dad was an alcoholic and an addict, very abusive. And my mom was like, you don't rely on a man for money. You don't rely on a man for anything. You don't rely on a man for happiness. Like you can't be like me, Katie. You have to go out there and you have to make your way and you have to make your money and you have to be, she didn't say these words, but now I know it's like sovereign and autonomous. Like, so you don't have to fucking rely on anybody. And I did that. And then when I was 39 years old, I'm like, okay, so I'm depressed. I have anxiety. I don't have a child because I was told, don't worry about kids. You'll be able to have children, like when you're older. And then I was put on birth control by a doctor who said, you don't need your period. There's no reason to have your period. And then guess what? When you get off birth control, as soon as you get off that pill, you're going to be able to get pregnant. Yeah, I know you probably heard this about 1 million times from people, right? Similar stories.
So many.
And then when you wake up one day and you're like, okay, so I'm 42 years old. I don't have a child of my own. I treat my husband not like shit, but I definitely am like, well, I don't really fucking need you because I make my own damn money. So even if you cheat on me or you divorce me, I'm good. Instead of thinking of him as like, oh my God, he's the divine half of myself and how to treat him properly. And I didn't even realize that I was almost like emasculating him for so many years, and how many men over the years that I had done that to just ran through their camp like a Viking, just looting and pillaging and ruining their lives and thinking they're, weak and all these things. And it's like, no, I wasn't being I didn't know how to be a divine feminine woman. Yeah. I'm still learning how to do it. So Ambitchious kind of grew out of that place. But now I feel like as a collective in my community, we're all kind of switching, where we're all waking up and saying, you can make your own money. You can be ambitious. You can be a strong woman. But what about family? What about treating your man like a man? What about like, hey, maybe I just want to like raise my children and like homeschool them and make sourdough bread and like have a fucking garden. Like, I know that that's like so on the other end of the spectrum, the opposite end of the spectrum. But I think that so many women are really feeling the same way I feel. And I am angry in a lot of ways. I'm working on it. But I'm angry in a lot of ways because I'm like, I feel like I was lied to. I feel like I was manipulated to think this way. And now it's almost like all those years of programming, now my part-time job is deprogramming the old programming. That's and right. Reinstalling a new program, which is what you pretty much do with people. You help them install this new program, this new operating system.
That's right. That's so beautifully said, Katie. And again, that is the intention here. I got to a place in my own growth because I modeled after my parents, my mom, the badass woman who was my mother and also my father in a lot of ways, learning to source masculine energy and feminine energy from a woman and what that did to my, let's call it attraction grid and what I was calling in that regard to things. But my passion is really reminding people that we're on the same team to the degree women are failing, men are failing. And yes, no one taught us these things. And so much of feminism did come about as a result of wounding from men. And so but this is it, right? The wounding from men that affected women, who are now wounding men, who are now wounding women, who are now wounding. It's like we're just playing this horrible game of tennis, like with hand grenades instead of, we've forgotten it's a game. We've forgotten that it's a game. And so much of my work and these workshops that I'm producing now and taking on the road, called Sacred Union, that are really about how we, in the battle of the sexes, actually, experientially, what are the questions that we can be asking? And so getting men and women in the same room and creating experiences for women to hear men and then reflect on that, and the men being able to share without being sort of interrupted and stepped in on by the women, and then the women get their chance to do their work, and the men just witness. And so all these different ways that we can bring in these lost arts of intuition and devotion, understanding the way these energies work in our bodies, and be able to create a nourishing, just a nourishing, nutritious environment. And
what do you think? Because you do this for work every day of your life, what are the conversations being had? Meaning, what are women talking about? What are they thinking about, and how are they feeling? And on the other side of the table, what are men feeling right now, and what are they talking about? Because I feel like I see and hear all these different people. You get these very manly men, like an Andrew Tate type of guy. I'm sure you hear about him a lot, and I'm sure you've seen his stuff. And then you see what he's saying, and then you see these other women who are going back to I want to be a mom, and I want to make the sourdough bread, and I want to be a homesteader like we used to be. So you're seeing these huge kind of
exactly the extremes.
Yeah. So what are the things that you're hearing? What are the things that you're feeling when you're meeting with these people and you're working with them? What is their wounding? How are they showing up? This is something that really just interests me so much.
Great question, Katie. I was a musician for a long time. So the way I think about this is there's in tune and out of tune. And the way a wave form of music works is the more out of tune it is, the bigger the swings are. And the more it starts to come into tune, it starts to sort of find this balance. And suddenly it almost goes into boom, perfect tone is stillness, is oneness. And so, we do see these, and to answer your question directly, what I see from women and what I see from men are these sort of two bifurcations. The Andrew Tate, we need to put women back in their place. And I have to say that there's a lot of nuance that I've heard Andrew Tate starting to actually incorporate into his work, where I think before it was very just sort of easy to dismiss.
Yes.
But there's some things that he's touching that are actually really valuable. And again,
I agree.
My mentors give me the assignments all the time of how to balance your system. So if you're hyper liberal, go read Trump's Art of the Deal. If you're hyper conservative, go read maybe some of Foucault or Derrida, or these sort of leftist philosophies that have become the wave underneath feminism that has produced these trends that we're now seeing. And so I see a lot of men who are sort of the red pill men who are fuck women, I'm taking my power back, da, 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 da. Or you see the super sensitive new age guys, as I like to call them, snags, because I was one.
Tell them what that stands for.
You get a snag, sister, a sensitive new age guy, a snag.
I love it.
I was raised by my hippie mom to be sort of the man that she needed or wanted to have encountered when she was younger. And again, I'm projecting all over my mom, and my mom listens to all my podcasts. So mom,
hi mom,
much.
My mom does too. Sometimes I gotta hold my tongue. I'm okay, I shouldn't go.
It's well, I'm sorry for what And my mom grew up I'm just going to say it, mom, grew up in southeastern Kentucky, rural Kentucky in the late 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
A whole different universe to be a woman in that regard. So I really understand and try to understand where she's come from and why that created this distrust, this frustration, this anger towards men. And so just as you have sort of the angry feminist on the extreme, now we're starting to see this push towards the homemaker, the homesteader. I actually want to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen under the right circumstances. So it's I was telling my men yesterday in this workshop that we did on presence and power and how to wield both of those in integrity. Women want to be ravaged, but by the right man.
You said it.
And can you learn how to be fluent? That's the way I speak about it. Fluent in these two different technologies of, let's say, that the Andrew Tate, the strong, the powerful, the killer, the those sort of qualities, that the fighter, that are actually really beautiful energies when they're balanced with sensitivity, vulnerability, softness. You don't want to just be machine gun fucked by a guy who's watched too much porn.
Yes.
You want to, and at the right moments, that's actually really hot and sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Only if he can modulate into feeling states of being able to attenuate with your nervous system and body and slow down and feel where you're at and build and crest and move and guide and drop and then go into these different spaces. So again, my work is about helping people as I was helped. And as my mentor taught me, the thing I didn't get became the thing I was meant to give. And so because of my challenges in this work and the absence of these qualities in balance in my own life, my work naturally emerged out of trying to find the balance in my own life. And what that meant was a lot of failed relationships. And I'm so grateful to the women out there that that were my teachers and guides and put up with me and helped me learn by suffering my lead, as one of these other mentors of mine would say. London Angel Winters, who's an amazing woman. And so, yeah, there's these two frames of extremity. And what I see the medicine and what I'm trying to help people create is the balancing of those in your system. Because for some people, some ferocity and anger is actually healthy, and it's a part of their healing their relationship to men, is to allow themselves to actually be angry at dad, angry at the ex, angry at the sexual predator, angry at the world for the masculine frame that you force me as a woman to be in every day in the rational, linear, logical mind. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's part of the healing. And then part of the healing is to, as men, if you're super in the Andrew Tate field, the medicine, the prescription that I would give you, and this is what my work is about, is, again, not demonizing either side, but just finding a balance between the two. And so what's the medicine that would help serve you become the person that you want to be as a woman? Not that, and this is where I see the issue too. People in one camp say men should be this way. People in this camp say women should be this way. It's like, no. Like, women should be however makes them feel best to themselves. Most women tend to be more feminine. Most men tend to be more masculine. There are always exceptions, but how do you find your proper balance in the healing of your conditioning that has led you, as we're talking about, right, to be a certain way that a lot of people are waking up to and being like, "Oh, this actually sucks. And I bought on this. I put all my money into crypto, and now it's like, fuck." And what do we do about that now? So what do we do? What do we do, Katie? What do we do about this?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, as you're talking, in the back of my mind, all these like little voices of my clients are like, "There's no good men out there. No man wants to do this, and there's no good men." And I'm like, well, if you keep fucking saying that, girl, then so shall it be.
There it is.
Right.
There it is. And so for your listeners, like, realize how powerful you actually are. And I feel you, sister. Like, I really get that your experience, your lived experience has been that there are no good men out there. And fuck, I'm so sorry for that. And there are good men out there. So this is where it's a little tricky, and it takes some nuance and some patience and some willingness to lean into the edges of how it can feel to realize that in any relationship, we are at most 50% responsible for what happens.
Exactly.
It means that we also have to be 50% responsible for taking responsibility for our part in the equation. So if you're not finding the right men, yeah, maybe you're hanging out in the wrong places, and maybe you're used to a certain type of man, but these men do exist. So what in you can you start to soften or work with, or again, only ever half of the responsibility. The half is and should be on the other person or out there. But how can we swallow our pride, check ourselves again in whichever extremity we find ourselves in? Again, if you're happy and you're loving being an ambitious woman and busting ass and taking names in the world, sister, do that till you drop. And if you're happy being at home and raising children and doing that, and you feel happy, do that. But I think what you're talking about and what I think a lot of your listeners are interested in is, ooh, wait, can I have my cake and eat it too?
Yes. Yes.
And I think the answer is yes. It just takes skill, it takes work, it takes awareness. And so many of us we're we're working with a handicap, let's say, because of the ideologies that we internalize and that have become a part of our way of being, which is how we create the world around us. And if we create the world around us that men are assholes, guess what kind of men we experience? And it can be really tough because say you gave me a mantra tomorrow and I go out and all women are amazing. All women are amazing. All women are amazing. There's probably still going to be some lag time where I'm out there and I'm not experiencing amazing women because I've had a lot of experiences with not amazing women. And that's what feels like home to my system. So the home that I know you have talked about and the home that I talked about with our feminist mom was curated and specialized in a very specific way that we've had to learn how to disrobe from and extrapolate. And I think you said decondition. It really is like a brainwashing in a way that has to be taken out and taken out skillfully.
And you know what I think is really funny is, so like in my 20s, I would attract these like bodybuilder, big, like masculine, like super, like what a masculine man from the third dimensional reality looks like. Yeah. But they were the weakest, saddest, most abusive motherfuckers like in the world, right? So then when I met my husband now, he was like this perfectly divine feminine man. And I was so not into him when he first started pursuing me because I was like, you're a dud. You're fucking boring. You're not exciting. Because in my head, because my nervous system was so fucking dysregulated from growing up in a very chaotic home with a mom who was like, you can't rely on a man. Look at my life. And like, look what I did. And look at the mistakes I made. And you can't do the same thing. So then when I met my husband, I was like, boring. Cause I wanted to fucking fist fight with you. I wanted you to like bite me, punch me in the face, spit on me, tell me I'm a piece of shit. Because in my head, that's what I knew. And it's so funny because now like my husband and I can be like very divine, masculine, feminine, and we can be like aggressive with each other too. And we know like when to do it and when not to do it. Where before it was like boom, 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 aggression 24/7 with every guy that I dated, to the point where I think so many of my listeners and so many of the women I work with, they say that they always say like, I need a mat. Like I want a mat. Like they always say that. And I was like, yeah, but I've seen like 10 mats come across your door and you will not like do it. You won't seal the deal because you want a man who's this super toxic masculine. And you say that you don't, but your actions are very different than what you're saying. Do you see this a lot with both men and women?
Yep.
Like men may say, I want this feminine woman and I want this whatever. And then they're dating the OnlyFans girls.
Yeah, I'm a king. Where's my queen? I'm a queen. Where's my king?
Oh God, shoot me! Anytime I see that on someone's stories on Instagram, I want to just jump off a bridge. I'm like, neither one of them are king or queen when they're talking about this because they're not doing the most.
Well, that's it. And I try to stay in the compassionate field, as much as I can. And it took me a while to get there because I had a lot of anger at women too, and then I hit the wave of anger at men because where was my dad? And where were these teachings? And where were the trainings that I was supposed to get that came from my father, which came from his father, which came from his father's father? Where the fuck was this education that I was sitting in this stupid ass public school waiting for the real teacher to show up? And I'm being taught like, I don't know, trigonometry, which I used zero ever, which is not to talk shit about trig because for some people in some fields, obviously that's the path. Right. But
not us.
Why am I not being taught how to, so I conducted this poll with some dear sisters of mine and to try to extract like, if there was a training program for men, because I do this is what I do. I create these programs, I run these programs. And what the distillation was, these women specifically, who are all in development, all this type of stuff. It was like, we want a man who's physically vital, emotionally intelligent, sexually studious, and what was the last one? Financially stable. And so where was I being taught those things in high school? Where was I being taught, freaking finances, or like doing my taxes, or any of the things that matter, right?
Writing a check. No, you were taught to put a condom on a banana.
Literally.
That's what I was taught. I was like, when is this going to come in handy?
This is where the ovaries are. This is where the fallopian tubes connect. Oh, wow. That's so useful. How about where's the clitoris? How about that at least?
Yeah. say it again louder for the people in the back. It's so true. It's so fucking true.
Here's some miseducation. And then here's endless porn. Good luck.
Yep.
Wonder why we're all
more fucked up than a soup sandwich, as I like to say. It's so true though. And then I see, because I have a 26-year-old stepdaughter, and she is like just like me. Like, because I raised her since she was 13. She's like super fucking smart, went to BU business school, like killing it, making the money, doing the deals, doing the thing. And, I see all her little friends that she hangs out with that I've known since they were like 11 years old. And, some of them are OnlyFans, right? They're like, where are all the good guys? I'm like, well, they're probably not going to meet you on OnlyFans when they're paying you $7 to see your fucking feet, bitch. Like, my grandmother used to say, if you sleep with dogs, like sooner or later you're gonna get fleas, right? That's like an old saying. It's like you're looking in all the wrong places. You're hanging out at the wrong places to find the people that you want. And then I noticed that a lot of these girls they're so liberal, and I don't mean like politically liberal. I mean just like their bodies mean nothing to them. There's no sacredness. There's no anything. And then all the guys that are their age are very conservative. There's this weird thing that's happening right now where like these young men are becoming like super conservative red pill guys. And the girls are becoming more liberal and just like free and not in like a hippy dippy, like peace, love, and hair grease way. I'm talking like, in a dark place, because then you start getting into like porn. I mean, like, as I was talking to one of my friends the other day about Pornhub, and they were saying like, this is all my kid does is just watch fucking porn all day long. And I'm like, when did this happen and why? Yeah.
The way I see it, archetypally, it's like we're not allowed to say certain things in our culture anymore. We're not allowed to say certain things that have been true for forever at the risk of offending certain people.
Don't want to get canceled now.
It's really frustrating to me because it seems like it's coming from a certain side of, let's say, the political spectrum. But so much of feminism, to me, I feel like should actually be called masculinism, because it didn't teach women to be more feminine. It taught I can do anything a man can do. And so now we have women who have been trained to be men. And so they're being men in the world. And the way men are with sex is different than the way women are with sex. And we've trained women to believe they can be the same way that men can be with sex. And in some ways you can, but I'm sorry, like, women have sex inside of their bodies. Men have sex outside of their bodies. That is a completely different experience. And what breaks my heart is that in this inability to say anything, we have left women particularly, or the feminine archetypally, without any boundaries at all. And archetypally, or from a tantric or even Taoist frame, the feminine needs the containment field around her to know where she is, to know what the rules are of the game. It's this old idea that the feminine is the river, but the river needs the banks of the river to tell it where to flow or how to flow or even know that it's a river. And so it's just like, yeah, girl, go out and just watch endless porn, and you can be a sex worker. It's great. Yeah.
Yes. And like you can have a body count of 250
more
guys. It's like, whoa, man.
And it sucks because like there is something important about feminine liberation and the sexual liberation and being taught these things. And there are some places and traditions that are really starting to bring these things in, these things that we should have been being taught when we were 13, instead of just here's a banana, here's a condom, figure it out. Yeah. Actually, how to engage in a sexual exchange and how to set it up for success, how to have the conversation about wants, needs, and desires, how to have a conversation about, are you on birth control? What are your views on pregnancy? What does sex mean to you? What's the emotional impact of you if we have sex tonight? we're literally leaving these women to drown, and drown they are. We have all the statistics now, the social media statistics, like you said, the Pornhub stuff. And it's tough because the sexual marketplace is a very viable space, and women are able to make lots of money just by being in their body and showing their body and revealing their body and the currency of the female body. And I should be able to commodify that. And yeah, to some degree, sure, sister, if that's what you want to roll with, but let's at least have a conversation about the potential impact of that in the future. And this is where, the conservative mindset is conservative because it considers the future impact versus the immediacy and the gratification of the moment, which is generally the liberal perspective on things. Both, again, have a brilliance, both have a shadow. So, the impact on men right now is profound and prolific and challenging and sad, but I feel like we're not even scratching the surface yet on the greater impact that's happening to our young women. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. And I grew up, like, when I was younger, I said, okay, I can go work at, the mall at a clothing store for minimum wage, or I can go work at the strip club and I can, go be a bottle server. I can work in the champagne room. I can be a bartender. I can be a massage girl. I can be all this stuff. And I made so much money. And I think about it now and I'm like, whoa, like now that I'm going to be 43 years old, you can't really connect the dots until you look backwards. But all of this stuff was like my way of being like more in my masculine, even though I was working in like a feminine job, but it wasn't. I was like hustling like a dude. Yeah. Like some mafioso, like in there, like just trying to get tips and stuff from these poor bastards, saying whatever you can. And I, some of the girls that I worked with too, it's like, they had kids at home, they had a husband, and I was like, how can your husband be okay with this? And some of them, like, they don't even know that I do this. And some of them were like, they love that I do this because they don't have to work as much. And I'm just like, and now looking back, I could see now that their husbands were extremely in their feminine. And the women were extremely in their masculine. And like, she's like, oh, my husband's a stay-at-home dad. And I'm like, that. And listen, I know that there's plenty of men out there that stay at home and watch the children and whatever. But from an evolutionary cellular standpoint, no man really probably wants to stay at home and watch the children while their wife goes to a strip club or goes into another room on OnlyFans to have weird sex with some dude in Alaska.
Unless that is the home base that they grew up in, and that's familiar to them. And again, the war on men right now is, it's weed, it's porn, it's video games, it's, if we're talking big archetypal circles, and I don't want to get too much into this because there's a lot of nuance to it, but this archetype of the devouring mother that we're seeing with the hyper overprotective helicopter moms. And again, largely a product of being single moms. And so thank you to you women out there who are single momming it. But again, that's a whole other conversation we can have. And
oh my God, there's so many offshoots of this. It's insane. I love it though.
But it is like, yes, you can do it. It's like the nuclear family with a father and a mother is not sufficient to truly raise a child in the way that a village is meant to raise a child.
Right.
With multivaried representations of what a man can be and what a woman can be. And it's not just your mom, and that's the feminine. So that's the only impact you have on your whole nervous system's development is your mom's frame or your dad's frame. And if you only have one parent, then you only have that frame. And so mom and dad, or mom is mom and dad in that energy. And if she's, hyper worried about you or these types of things, it's like, there's so many ways that women that I want to be very careful how I say this. There's a way that mothers will emasculate their male sons, largely because they're kind of supposed to. Like, mothering isn't ever supposed to end. There's a biological function in that. Like, my mom still, do you want to, your sweater, wear your sweater?
Yeah.
I
Did
know.
you eat today?
I've been out of the house for like 20 years and I've survived somehow without, you wearing the sweater that you need me to wear when we go from the heated house to the heated car to the heated house.
Yes.
And I love you, Mom. I love you so much. But it's like, where does this take us and where does this lead us? And the frame of this and how, again, just to bring it back to where do we start to support each other again? And where do we start to,
I agree with you. And I feel like there's also right now, and it has been for a handful of years, like this war on men. Like if you're a man, like you shouldn't even be walking this earth anymore. You are just trash. You should just move out of the way. Mm-hmm. And it breaks my heart to watch it because I have so many male friends that are like, I can't even say what I want to say. I can't post what I want to post. Mm-hmm. I can't have real conversations with anyone anymore. Everything is so surface level because I'm actually petrified to say the wrong thing and then get canceled or, even like, and I know this is probably like a whole other story for a different day, but even with like the Me Too movement, like now, am I saying that none of those women had those experiences? Absolutely not. I've had experiences like that in my life. And I've also used my sexuality to get things from men. So there's two sides of the coin, right? And then now we're seeing like all these men who probably didn't do shit just because maybe in the past, I mean, there's so many different stories that I hear, but in the past, maybe a girl wanted to be with this guy and the guy didn't want her and rejected her. So now she has her chance to hurt him and besmirch him and take him down. And it's just so sad to watch men as a whole. And I know a lot of like my girls that they're going to be like, how can you say this? They're the other. And it's like, no, we cannot keep doing this because the more we keep doing this, and you can actually speak to this better than I can, there has to be down the road a collapse of some sort that's coming. Am I right? Am I hitting the tone? Like, am I wrong? Tell me about this.
We're already starting to see it in the numbers, the dwindling numbers of marriages, the dwindling numbers of partnerships, the dwindling number of children. People they've been encouraged psychologically and they've been encouraged physiologically to avoid those things. And so again, what we're seeing is the physiological system and people starting to come online to try to overpower the psychology, the ideology that they've been taught. And suddenly the biological clock starts ticking and a woman's thrown all of her weight and all of her eggs into the basket of the pursuit of, let's say, bank accounts and these other types of things. And now there's a ticking clock. And as you know, it generally makes it harder, not easier, to attain something that you really desperately need yesterday. And so there is this crescendo towards something that's happening. But again, I think I do feel hopeful because like you and I finding each other in the resonance, like your listeners are coming home to. And again, I want to just say, like the Me Too movement, it came about for a reason. There's been a lot of bullshit for a long time, and that needed to happen. And things like Believe All Women, it's just, it doesn't, like, of course there's going to be someone that's making it up or someone that's utilizing a chink in the armor of the system to get their revenge or their needs. Yes. And so it's important to recognize that. And again, important to, if we're playing for blood and it's blood for blood and fuck you because you hurt women and fuck you because you hurt men, it's the old saying of an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. And Absolutely. Are we done yet? Are we blinded enough? Like, how much longer do we need to continue the war, the battle of the sexes? And the he said, she said stuff before we're done. And I feel so grateful, Katie, because I can feel it. I'm starting to see it in my community, and I'm starting to see it in my work that enough people are done. They're done. They're bled out. They're enough broken bones and broken hearts to finally be like, this isn't working. Why isn't this working? And start to be able to get curious about it and start to be able to, again, take partial responsibility and engage in some different kinds of conversations, some different kinds of work, some different types of perspectives.
Absolutely. So if you had to give advice out there, and maybe just a couple of very important things, because I know we could literally talk about this for 100,000 years and never be done with it.
At least
Advice out there for women who are like, there are no good men out there and I don't need a man and I can have a baby. Just give me some sperm from a sperm bank and I'll be that mom. And then on the other hand, out there to the men that are like, there's no good women out there. All women, because this is what I hear. I hear this all the time. Like, all women are whores. They just want your money. They're gold diggers, and so there's complaints from both sides of the aisle. What would be like your best advice for the people out there that have this narrative coming out of their mouths?
I'd say be very careful of two things. The feminine's tendency to emasculate and men's tendency to objectify. And both of them are defense mechanisms. They're mechanisms that we employ when we feel overwhelmed or when we feel like this isn't safe, or when we see a frame or a pattern that starts to replay itself that reminds us of a hurt or a challenge or a wound or these types of things. It's easy to call her a whore or, oh, she's just a slut because I went up to her at the gym and I was scared shitless because, oh my God, it's this cute girl. And she's like, whatever, bro. Oh, fuck you. She's a cunt. It's like, yeah, no, you actually risked going up to her, which is one of the most terrifying things that a man can do, by the way.
Yes.
Actually, because we care about you that much, because you are that special, you are that important, you are that valuable. And it makes it easier for us to devalue you so that the value of not getting you doesn't hurt us as much and doesn't wound our pride or our view of ourselves so much. And same thing for women. It's easy to cut a man down to just like, because you can, in a way, like you can. Like there's this whole inverse of the equation where it's like, yeah, men are bigger and stronger physically, but y'all, women are bigger and stronger emotionally. And the way that physical violence is the masculine shadow, emotional violence is the feminine shadow.
We're good at it too.
So good at it.
We're professionals.
Oh, pros.
I can say some shit to my husband and then like an hour later, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. Wow. But that's what I heard my mother say to my father. So even though I know it's wrong, every so often it comes out like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, like, and I'm like, whoa, I thought I healed that in myself.
Right.
But there's certain triggers that happen to me that pull that shadow part out too. Right.
Right. That's right. Well, and it's born out of that. And it's born out of, women can't overpower men physically, which is why manipulation became the feminine shadow. You have to work with the words and work with the energies and those kinds of things. And in a lot of the tantric traditions or the two-bodied traditions of sacred sexuality, we all know how the masculine penetrates the feminine. But what we don't know is that the feminine penetrates the masculine too. And you penetrate us through the heart space. We penetrate you through the womb space. But you penetrate us emotionally and energetically through the heart space. And so we're all like trying to protect each other by attacking one another. And it literally is actually like a war. It's an energetic war. And it's nobody's fault. And it's all of our fault. And it's all of our responsibility and an ability to change that. And so to the people out there who are trying to shift that, or who would say, all men or all women, it's like, there's a term for that. Anytime you ism people, and sexism does go both ways. It really does.
Absolutely.
Again, if you need to be right, and if your perspective of men are pigs or women are bitches or whatever it is, and that's what you've arrived on, I have compassion for you, because you didn't arrive on that in a vacuum. You arrived on that because of your lived experience, or at the very least an ideology that you were taught to value. But it's tough because it's hard to let go of a way of being. It's hard to say, you know what, I'm going to be the bigger person, because if you want to end a war, some side has to be the one that comes forward and says, you know what, I'm done with the killing.
I surrender.
Yeah. And not just because you're beaten. So it's like, well, you have no choice. You're going to surrender. I'm going to kill you all. I'm going to wipe you all out. And it seems like that for some people, that's the level that we're playing this game. It's like, Jesus Christ, like what?
Yeah.
but then you see it reflected in their lives and the miserableness of their life, because men and women actually need each other. We technically need each other. There's things physiologically and biologically that happen in the body. Just the way that orgasm functions in the body. And yeah, you can give yourself an orgasm. Yeah, and women can be together and men can be together. But, I think, my queer brothers and sisters know more about polarity than most straight people, because there's always clarity on who's playing which role in that relationship. But again,
absolutely.
If this is of interest to you, study it. If this is of interest to you, learn about it, learn about each other, there's amazing work from, I don't know, that's a long fucking list, but if I could suggest places to start for people on the masculine side, I would suggest David Deida, Deida, who was one of my mentors for a while. And I would suggest Alison Armstrong's work on the female side, the Queen's Code, and these ways of ending the battle and turning the battlefield into a garden again as sacred man and woman.
So I want to get into this because you know that when we talked about this on our first call, when I first spoke to you, I think I had you laughing because I told you I am petrified of doing any kind of psychedelics.
Yeah.
Any kind of anything. Like when I was a little girl, my grandmother would say to me, if you do drugs, you will die. Mm-hmm. So even though I know that's not true, I have always had like this block. And I went to Madeira, Portugal, and there was a shaman there. And my friends were holding a ceremony. And my friend Jan was like, you have to do this, Katie. You have to do this. And I was like, no, bro, like I can get to those states in my meditation and my breath work, like fuck off, like stop talking to me about this, which I do believe that in my heart. But I have so many friends who I trust with all of every fiber of my being that are like, dude, this is the thing that like cracked me open and made me see the world in a different way. And you actually facilitate these experiences. So let's talk about that, because so many people are interested in this. And what makes me really angry, and we also talked about this a little bit too, is they go to these people who have no business facilitating these types of experiences. There's no support. And I've seen a lot of people not come back or be right after they've had these experiences. And I've also had a lot of friends that use these experiences as a crutch to not actually do the real work on their own.
That's right.
And so I want you to talk to the listeners out there about what you do and how you do it and why, and maybe your experience with it and what led you to be this facilitator of these experiences.
Wow, great questions. Where to start with that? Yeah, no, I always come back to a quote from Carl Jung, which is beware of unearned wisdom. And in a way...
Say that again, please. Stop. Say that. My nipples just got so hard. Carl Jung, you made my nipples hard, man. You've been dead for a while, but you did.
The old guy still gets them. Yep. Beware of unearned wisdom, or beware of wisdom that you did not earn. And so the thing about psychedelics that makes them so special, but also is part of the shadow that you just named, is that they are an elevator to the top floor. Because of that, they are very powerful, and they should be absolutely used with respect. When stepping into use of these powerful substances, there should be a good blend of fear and excitement, trepidation and respect, because they are very powerful. And there are levels of psychedelics. Like they're like, I like to call them level 1, which is where you should start.
Okay,
like,
what's level 1?
5-day ayahuasca journey in the fucking jungle. Level 1 is MDMA. Level 1 is there's other ones I would throw in there too, but just to keep it simple, MDMA is an empathogenic teacher, a tool that helps to bring empathy and healing, and is massively supportive of PTSD treatment and the opening of the heart space, and being able to, as a meditator, you know this, sort of step into witness space of your own life and be your own guide, healer, therapist, coach. And in my work, because these I had such powerful, profound experiences at the beginning. I'm very lucky with that. I'm very lucky that my experiences were so good. And I had a similar thing. My mom was like, we tried everything as hippies, it's bullshit. Don't fuck with it. It'll fuck you up. I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
And And there are ways to journey and people to journey with. I call them the three S's. It's your set, it's your sitting, and it's your sitter. So your mindset that you come into the experience with. My job as a facilitator is to help you get clear on what the intention is for your journey. My job is also to help you with the setting, the safety of your environment that is predictable and stable, so that when you're in these altered states, you can really focus on doing the work that you're there to do. And then the sitter, having someone there, it's a powerful archetypal idea of, if you're going to untether to go in and do some inner work, it's very supportive to have someone who is tethered on the outside, who is holding you and your ability. Just in the way that in the gym, when you have a spotter, you're actually able to lift more weight, because you know, if I can go for this last rep, because I'm not going to drop it on my neck because my boy's there and he's got me. But it's very important for me to say too, just I support people in this work. A lot of this work is illegal. I sit for people. I help them sit with these medicines in ways that support the fortune, hopefully the coming legality of a lot of them, because they are so helpful for healing. But
I think they're illegal because people want to keep it that way, because they know, dude, if we actually let these people experience this, then a lot of people are going to break out of the matrix, and we won't have such docile sheeple to boss around and tell what to do.
The medical model starts to break down when people start to heal out of the systems that are meant to keep you sick.
But you see a lot of these types of things, though. So I'm not crazy. I've seen a lot, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of people that, like, they did, Bufo one weekend at a party, and then all of a sudden they're like, I am a fucking shaman the following weekend, and they're burning people's skin and putting friggin' cane toad poison into people and stuff. And I hear this all the time, and that freaking freaks me out, because I, like a lot of my listeners, are control freaks.
Yeah.
And the thought of just like being in a room with 20 people puking in buckets, and like some shaman that's, never done this in a day in his life is going to be the one that's tethering me and watching me and holding space for me, that freaks me out. So I love that you're like, this is what I do. I've done it for this long, and I've had all these amazing experiences with people.
It's really important to do your due diligence, to know who you're sitting with, and to get referrals, and to really get that, because there are people that go to an ayahuasca session and the next weekend they're leading their own. And I don't just want to talk shit about that, though. It's important to talk shit about that, because there isn't an intact shamanic, or let's say spiritual tradition in our culture anymore. And human beings worship. Human beings are spiritual. And as we've knocked the slats out from underneath of organized religion, and the Judeo-Christian constructs in the West have lost their potency, let's say. And my parents' generation, leaping into the East and leaping into Buddhism and Sufism and all these different Hinduism, Taoism, all these different traditions. There's a hunger for this. And so what happens when you encounter these, and they are transcendent experiences, generally the psychedelic experience is sort of punctuated by a sense of timelessness, out of body experience, a sense of the numinous, of the divine, of a first person connection to the sacred. And in our culture, we've instantiated the priestly class to sort of be the mediator between you and God. And now suddenly you're having either a second person or first person experience of, wow, God is speaking to me and I'm speaking to God, or even, and this is where it gets a little interesting, I am God.
Yeah, I'm all there is. Yeah.
Things. And it's a really beautiful place to arrive at. And it can be really destabilizing to people who now think that they are God, and now think that I am the next incarnation of Christ himself, and the God complexes that can emerge from these things when we don't have the checks and balances, when we don't have, and that looks like integration. And again, a graduated rising up of the elevator from these level 1 things, let's say MDMA, level 2 psilocybin, even getting towards LSD, these types of things. And then the third tier, ayahuasca, Bufo, 5-MeO, these things that have a capacity to be totally destabilizing. When used correctly, it can destabilize the ego. It can destabilize the blockages that are keeping you from being the person that you came here to be. And being able to tap into that sense of oneness with the universe is beautiful, because it's half true. You are God. You are oneness. Everything is perfect just as it is. But that's only half of the puzzle, because you are still in a mortal body. You are still a individuated ideation of consciousness. And so in my work, we talk about this, but in my psychedelic work too, I always throw up this sign, and I don't know if you guys can kind of see it if you're watching the video, but it looks like an Arnold Schwarzenegger double bicep pose down. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to flex. I'm trying to show two sides of the equation of, can you hold the mystery of I am all, the one God, I am divine, I am beautiful, I am perfect just as I am, and I am mortal, I am flawed, beautifully flawed, I am always growing, I'm always striving for more, and there is always more that we can become and take on. And can you hold those things at the same time? Whoa, like it's
a big responsibility a lot of people can't even fathom having. Now, when you started on your own journey, when did you know you're like, oh my gosh, this helped me so much, I want to help facilitate this with people I'm working with? Yeah. Was there like a moment that you're like, this has to be part of like my repertoire?
Yeah, it was a beautiful triumvirate of experiences that actually spanned a good deal of time. I had my first ever psychedelic journey. I was 26. I was in Amsterdam backpacking Europe when.
Of course you were in Amsterdam.
Actually, of course. As you do in your 20s, do it.
Exactly.
Was guided into a mushroom experience by a friend that I'd met. We met running with the bulls in Pamplona. So, we trust really quickly, because, we helped each other out of some hairy situations, and he had experience with psilocybin. So I trusted him, and he, to his credit, really set us up for a beautiful experience. I literally laid flat. I'm so grateful that I had put on sunblock, because it flat on my back. I didn't move for 6 hours, and I was moving through the universe as an 8-armed Hindu deity. I knew all truth, all answers to all questions. I was that. And then I came back and I was like, well, I'm done here. I'm done, because I am not chasing that dragon. That was incredible. I need to go sit with that for the rest of my life. And that was good. So, and then fast forward to 2012 in New York City, before ayahuasca has become the sort of dinner table term that it is now, and at least in certain circles. And I had one of the most horrific experiences of my life, stepping into an ayahuasca ceremony in someone's apartment on 8th Avenue in Manhattan, horribly run with zero integration, and then sort of still halfway coming out of the experience. The experience ended at 7 a.m. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful life. Good luck to you. And then out onto New York City, 8th Avenue morning traffic. I arrived back in my apartment in Queens at 2 p.m., not knowing how I'd sort of gotten there. And it was such a jarring experience. So I had this amazing experience the first time, and then a horrible experience the second time. Fast forward another year to my first experience with MDMA, which, again, I was so not about, because it's a synthetic and it's not natural, and fuck that. And I'm done. I don't need this. Like you, I'm a meditator. I can reach these states in breath work, my flow state in the gym when I'm running, that runner's high. It's like nothing's going to touch that. I've already been the 8-armed Hindu deity. I've been in this horrible buckets, lots of puking and horrifying. Bleh. Done. And she, out of her love, convinced me to have this experience with her, which to this day is the most profound experience that I've ever had. And again, I got to be careful, because I'm not, in no way am I encouraging anyone to do drugs or illegal substances that would get them or me into trouble. You should not do these things. They are illegal.
But everybody's doing it.
And there's a reason.
Everybody I know, I think I'm the last of the Mohicans. I really am. Like,
well, respect. Respect.
I'm the only one. And I'm like, what am I missing out on? Maybe I can get higher in my consciousness. But then I also get afraid, like, what if I lose my fucking shit? And then this ego that I've created for myself as ambitious and this power boss. What if I'm just like, fuck it, I'm dropping out, man. I'm just going to be a stay-at-home dog mom and I'm going to flick my bean all day. Like that petrifies me. That petrifies me, Mikaal. Hey, either thing could happen, right?
Anything could happen. And again, to the degree that you do your due diligence and you are sitting with people that understand these 3 S's and apply them. And specific, let me say this, that for me, that horrible Aya journey gave me the blueprint that I work into my work as a coach. Most of the people that I work with have no idea that I sit for people with their own experiences of these medicines. Because it's just coaching works, meditation works. It's not about like, this is the thing. And for some people, these can be incredible tools when used properly to detonate through or love through blockages that otherwise have been really challenging. And so when applied correctly and with a proper protocol of integration on the back end, with me, you are not. I don't work with you if you don't agree to 3 integration sessions on the back end. And the first one is the next day. It's the next day.
So what do you do when you do these integration sessions? You, after they had their experience, you sit with them, you talk to them, you hold space for them.
As one of my dear brothers says with this work, and he's an Aya facilitator, the medicine gives you the lesson plan. But then the real work actually begins. People think that the medicine journey is the journey. It's the pop out into something and hopefully a connection with the divine or something that's not always divine. Oftentimes it can be challenging, but it will, when used properly, it'll show you where the things are that you need to work on. And with proper support, a challenging journey can be the most important thing that's ever happened to you. But the work on the back end is to actually integrate the experience into your sober life so that you can use the tool to actually do the thing. And like Alan Watts says, once you get the call, hang up the phone. Or I'm paraphrasing a bit. Once you answer the call, you hang the phone up. You don't just keep going every other weekend to more experiences. It's like, well, are you doing your integration work? Because for me, we do front end work as far as dialing in. What is your intention? Is it safe for you to use these medicines? Because depending on your mental states, medications that you're on, these medicines can be very dangerous, harmful even. So we need to do the due diligence to make sure that you can do this, to talk to you about the legal ramifications, all these things, and then help you with the setup, what your intentions are, the experience happens, and then integration on the back end, where my job is to go over the experience with you, because oftentimes you won't remember stuff. So I'm writing everything down. I'm recording these things in a way to be able to give you the tools and then support you with the tools a day out, a week out, a month out.
It's awesome.
So that you can actually wring the sponge and get the most out of this to apply directly into your life, because the goal is not to be altered all the time like some of our hippie brethren. And I love y'all.
We do love y'all, but I think sometimes it's a cop-out, and I work with a lot of clients that do this all the time, and I'm like, are you doing your meditation? No. Are you going to see your therapist? No. Are you doing no. And then they just are right back at the same ceremony the next weekend.
Yeah, I can heal myself. It's like, yeah. And we're social animals, and having someone else watching your back and seeing your shadows in ways that you just can't see. You cannot see your own eyes. You know, as Alan Watts says, you just can't. You need someone else to reflect that back to you. And this is what's so beautiful about this two-bodied technology, the two-bodied practices, whether in, as I do in my workshops, I set people up in different forms of connection, eye gazing, to be able to reflect back to each other. What do you need to know about men? What do you wish men knew about women? And you get to get this information in the same way. You're able to integrate and take these things in when you have someone guiding you. This is why coaching works. This is why it is what it is. And why, so many of the group programs and these opportunities that I facilitate allow people to grow so quickly, because we're supposed to grow quickly. And we've been, divide and conquer is the oldest military tactic in the book for a reason. And When it's just you trying to build your empire solo, it's just it's not as fun, it's lonely, and it's just not designed to function that way.
Agreed. Now, when you do this coaching work, when you have these events, is it mostly men that come to your events, or is it men and women? Is it a good mix? Like, tell me about that. I'm really, and I know that my listeners will be really interested too. Do you do them all the time? Like, walk me through that.
Yeah, thank you for asking. The men's experiences are obviously for men, but these co-ed experiences, I try to get the numbers even. So the goal is to have an equal number of men, an equal number of women. And I have a few of my mentees, or what I call my alphas, who are the best of the best. You want to see some epic men? Come meet my alphas. Who, while I'm in the workshop leading, in a way, I'm in my feminine. I'm channeling what the exercise is. I'm in there with it, and at least one or two of these men will be holding the frame on the outside, watching the entire thing, intentionally bringing masculine energy, quote unquote, into their bodies through presence, stillness, breath, to be able to really track the space, bring in protective energy, and be able to do that. So we really try to keep the numbers even. And then if I need one of my guys to step in, if we have one more woman or this type of thing, we'll try to balance it out. Sometimes you just can't do it. The numbers are uneven. But even in that, there's utility in two women working together, two men working together. And what is a polarity exercise like when two straight dudes get together and work with the energy? And it can be incredibly, and this is a PG workshop, guys. This is not, there's nothing going on here, because again,
it doesn't end up as a big orgy in the middle of it.
It doesn't. And my beef with a lot of the neo-tantra stuff is it seems like it's sex first and then training. And tantra it generally doesn't touch sex itself, because it's all learning the energetic frames, learning to wield these energies, breath, connection, these things. And then once you have those in, sex happens naturally by itself, and it happens quite magically and beautifully.
Have you seen people in your workshops end up like together, like as boyfriend and girlfriend and stuff, like, because they're there for like the right reasons, and they're like, oh, holy shit, there are like great people from the opposite sex. Not everyone's out to get me.
Yeah, it's certainly not marketed as a singles event. It's certainly not marketed as a space with that intention, but that certainly does happen. And again, if you want to be proven, I'll say this differently. If you want to see the proof that good men do exist or good women do exist, who are at the very least committed to trying to do something different. And I'm not trying to say that I've got it all figured out and my work is the bee's knees and it's got it all there. I mean, I think there's something to it, and it's worked for me, and I've seen it work for other people. But when we bring men and women together, and you introduce, actually you reintroduce them to a technology that is already living within their own body, and you teach them how to co-regulate through prolonged eye contact and through the presence of the presentation of your posture and openness in the body. And breath, and actually just breathing together in eye contact. It's like the neuroscience is out on this. It's not just hippie conjecture. Your nervous systems will co-regulate, and it's good for both of you. In the same way, sex is really good for both of you. Alison Armstrong talks about that quite a bit, how undersexed most couples actually are, even the ones that have a lot of sex, because there's just so much regulation, co-regulation, just production of hormones and things that happen in the sexual space, but just the deepening of connection. And
I actually read recently it was a doctor that was doing these, I don't know, experiments, or they were taking polls, or I can't remember what it was. It was a while back, but it was saying something like the generation Gen Z, are having the least amount of sex of all of the generations that have come before them into infinity. There has to be something said for that.
Yeah, because porn has gotten to the state that it is, and the relationship between the sexes is at what it is. So for a lot of guys, it's not worth it. Me Too did great things to protect women and out some bullshit, but it also made men terrified to talk to you. Like, it's terrifying enough to walk up to a girl and ask for your phone number, but now I might be a perpetrator if I do that. So it's like, and porn has become so, I mean, I've read a lot about this because especially the young men, it's become such an affliction. But I was reading something that a lot of people feel like there's never been a substance that's more addictive specifically to the male brain than modern pornography.
Wow.
Being able to just toggle blonde, brunette, redhead, and have a fresh input of sex, a fresh input, fresh. You never will ever watch the same video. They're being produced with such regularity that you can literally just be on porn forever.
So it's like the ultimate dopamine high 24/7. And that girl doesn't talk back to you and call you an asshole and tell you to fucking wipe your shoes and, take your underwear off the ground or whatever we do to our men.
No one's learning what it takes to get a woman into bed respectfully and artistically, and seduction and wooing, and what it means to be able to learn each other again, and how women can play with that energy and encourage the chase, and then be really clear and I'm a no, and that's what polarity is, how to build attraction. And it's a skill and it's an art, and the great news is it can be learned like anything. And the thing I love about polarity is polarity doesn't give a fuck. It doesn't give a fuck about you, what your pronouns are, who you're attracted to, what your skin color is. It doesn't care. There's fuck energy or there's not. There's attraction or there's not.
Amen.
Is masculine, feminine, alpha, omega, yin, yang, we call it purple and X. It doesn't matter. It's working or it's not. And I'm more curious about you and what makes you happy and what would make you feel good in your body, in the world, and how do we get you that versus what are the technical terms for what that is and how it needs to show up and all these different things. And we do need language to be able to speak about things. There are generalities and stereotypes that exist for a reason for most people, and there are exceptions to every single rule. And so how do we this is it. This is how we come back together.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I know obviously you can't solve everyone's goddamn problems on the Ambitchious podcast in an hour. And I really, really, really desire deeply for all of my listeners here to check out Mikaal. All his information is going to be in the show notes. Follow him on his socials. Go out to wherever he's facilitating an event like this and do the damn thing. Reach out to him. You're an amazing, amazing coach. But if you had to give someone here, like, this is what you should be working on right now, if you really, truly desire to find your perfect, divinely masculine, or if it's a male or whatever you're into here on the Ambitchious Podcast, to find that other person and have a healthy, beautiful, divine relationship, what would you tell them? Like, what would be your biggest, like, do this now? Or maybe stop doing this, whatever you're doing. I know it's such an open-ended question.
It is. And it's, I am the opposite of the pharmaceutical model. Every person has their own need. And so there's variation in every individual. And so what I would say to you, I wouldn't say to someone else. And there are similarities, but I'd say for the women out there, it's the art of learning how to open and how to close, how to have shields up and how to have shields down. As again, I'll mention her here. London Angel Winters always used to say, for the feminine, your no is your pathway to your yes. And so learning how to and when to say no, be a no, close down, not be interested in receiving energy attention, but then also this skill of opening. And when you actually do want to have attention, and from what and why. And what can you do to attract the type of energy and attention that you want? So I would say, in addition, you can spend some time figuring out what the qualities are of the type of partner that you want, which is kind of easy for a lot of us to do. But then the hard part comes is like, would that perfect person that you've just designed actually be attracted to you?
Okay. Thank you for saying this, because I have clients that will say to me, like, I want a 10 and he has to make 7 figures and he has to have an 8-inch cock and he has to be tall, dark, and handsome. And and I'm like, yeah, but you're a fucking 5.
Yeah.
And I don't even mean like your looks. I mean, you are a 5 energetically, the words that come out of your mouth, the way that you carry yourself, the thoughts that you think. like how you are showing up every day. You're a 5, but you want a 10. So that doesn't make fucking sense to me. And I know that this sounds very aggressive, what I'm saying, but this is, this isn't blow smoke up your ass podcast. This is like raw shit. And that's what pisses me off about people, because everyone wants a 10, but they're acting and showing up as a 5.
Yeah, and I think there's something that's being taught in the culture around that. And, Mr. Data used to say a lot of that we always attract our reciprocal. And so the evidence of your vibration are the people that you are surrounded by, or the men that you're dating. And it can be a hard pill to swallow. And again, when you start to work on yourself, it's important to remember that things always get worse before they get better. Not necessarily because things have gotten worse, but because you turn the lights on. And now you see all the cockroaches and crap on the floor that you just didn't see because you weren't looking at it. And so it can be tough, but it's so worth it to be able to do that. And for men too, I would say it's like, God, what would I say to men? It's like, for me, the journey was emasculation, which is why my podcast is entitled Remasculation. I would say that there's oh boy, learning how to love yourself, like how to really value yourself and come to value what you bring, and that your value can be reflected either externally, like the guys that are all into give Andrew Tate a shout out here, the Bugatti and the money and all these things, and like the external presentations of my value. Look how I'm important, I'm valuable. It's not nothing. That's part of the equation, but the internal representations of value are equally as important. My ability to be sensitive, to be vulnerable, to know when not to be, to create boundaries, to be sensitive. And really it's about bringing those two qualities together. So can you be a badass MMA protector fighter dude who also is incredibly emotionally intelligent, well-read, and loves poetry? Like, it's make yourself better. Figure out the ways that you could be better. Ask your friends, ask your ex, ask your partner, like, where could I best improve? And take a poll of all of that, figure it out, and then start to improve yourself while loving yourself as you are.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, because everyone always thinks like, when I get the Bugatti and the 6-pack and, I get my hair transplant or whatever the fuck was going on in your life, then I can show up as this person. But it's like, no, you have to deal with what you're dealing with right now. And if you're overweight and you're, playing video games all day, but you want to be a better man, just love yourself in that moment, but do the things to make yourself what they call nowadays a high value man or a high value woman. And I think it's important. And I don't, I was listening to something that was saying like, something like men who work out are like super right-wing conservative, like alt-right type of guys. Like, I can't believe that working out now makes you like an alt-right person, but like, I want to see my man work out in the gym. I want to see him muscular. And if he has to smack someone in the back of the head because they come at me, I want my man to be able to protect me, but I also want him to bring me flowers if I had a bad day and go get me a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream if I have my period, and understand that he can be all those things and not be a snag or
That's right.
some crazy, super toxic masculine man, It
doesn't take rocket science to look at, a long-haired hippie dude who's super skinny and be like, well, he's clearly prioritized the emotionality and vulnerability side of the equation. Wonderful. I bet his bench press is like 80. It's like, okay. And then you see those gym rat dudes who are jacked and ready to, take action if they need to. They tend to skew more conservative on average, just as the hippie dude tends to skew more liberal on average. But again, I'm interested in creating what I like to call the third man, or it's not really, David Data talks about these 3 stages, but it's like the type of man that is truly dangerous in a wonderful way. Like, think about that. Like
Jordan Peterson says that, like, you should be able to be a monster.
Mm-hmm.
And it says like the meek shall inherit the earth in the Bible. But what if you go back to the word meek, it actually means to to be able to use your sword when you have to, but keep it sheathed.
Yeah. But keep it sheathed.
but no one wants to read a goddamn book or listen to any of this shit. They want to like, be on their friggin'.
What's the ability to, do you have the capacity to wield violence as an act of love? Because if you're a pacifist, because that's your only option, then you're not really a pacifist. You only have the option of hoping to be able to beg someone not to hurt you, or hoping that there's someone else stronger around who can take care of the problem. And it's also really important to be able to be developed sensitively and all those type of things. So the way I like to look at it is I like to think about like an EMT. And like an EMT training, they teach you that the greatest gift that you give when you walk on a fucking car accident or where someone's in trouble, the first thing you present is the gift of your regulated nervous system.
Yes.
Hi.
You don't want an EMT screaming like, fuck, that's really bad.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Well, look at me. Do not look at your leg. Do not look at your leg. It's not there, but don't look at it. We're going to find it. Don't worry. It's somewhere here. It's somewhere here. Okay. Gosh, do you want to go to the hospital? Do you have insurance? What do you want to do? Do you want to like, I don't know. I can hit it for a second. Like, no, it's like, hi. And be able to have the understanding and wherewithal to be with their emotional experience and the strength to, if I need to fireman carry you out of here, I will do it in a fucking heartbeat because I trained for this shit.
Yeah.
And there's something about that for men, man, just in saying that, it brings up an energy in me, that part of me that's alive, that wants to be of service, that needs to be of service. And
I'm like, throw me over your shoulder, motherfucker.
Right. And carry you because that's some hot shit. And like,
that's right.
And it's hot for both people, and it's also can be really hot to, again, be in a deep, connected, emotionally powerful conversation. So can we become this brand new type of man and woman who are the amalgamation of both sides of the equation? We understand the brilliances and the shadows of both, just like we've started this conversation with around feminism, and start to like get over ourselves, get over the war, and start to create a new world and a new society, because that's what's needed. And that's what we deserve. That's truly what we deserve, Katie.
I love this conversation. I could talk to you forever and ever and ever.
And I'm just I gotta go. I got a client. Oh
my God. Well, I was going to say, you probably have to go because you probably have shit to do other than talk to me all day long, but I appreciated this. And you guys have to reach out to Mikaal. He's going to change your life. He is absolutely amazing. This was such a great conversation. And I hope that my girls listen to me. They reach out to you because this was absolutely superb. Thank you so much for taking time out of your crazy, busy, amazing life for being here. And I'm looking forward to deepening my relationship with you because I absolutely adore you and everything that you stand for.
Wow. Thank you so much. That is special. And so thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. And thank you for having me on your show. I've really been doing this work underground. I've been largely referral based, and I like that. I like to have my life and be able to control my frame in those ways. But this work is more important in a way. And so I want to get it into the hands of more people. I want this technology to show up in the hands of our young people in the way I would have needed it to show up in mine, and it didn't.
Yeah.
So thank you for helping me spread this message. And again, for being part of this change, this work. Thank you for your work.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. Guys, share this with everybody and your mother. And like I always say, see you next Tuesday. And don't forget to stay ambitious.